So what do you think, Dad? Is it going to work?
Well, it won't be pretty for sure.
Good morning, yo folks. I'm Sean the Modern Yeoman, and I think I messed up. Maybe I didn't mess up, but I was careless, that's for sure. So last night we actually got to, I think it was 35 degrees. We got down to 35 degrees here. And I was under the assumption that we were past all of our frost dates. So when I came out here in the morning, I want to say it was like before 7. It was maybe 6:50 in the morning. There was that telltale kind of patchy frost covering the grass. And so all of my beds, except for my greens beds behind me, had some of that going on the dirt. And I don't know if this hurt or seriously killed any of my plants. It's maybe 9:30 at this point, so I'm going to take a look at the plants now that the frost has kind of gone away, melted away, and see what the condition of my plants are. All right, so a quick look here. Everything seems to be fine. None of the plants seem wilted. They all seem springy and healthy. I'm especially watching out for things like peppers and tomatoes, hot weather plants. I'm very concerned about them, but even those particular plants seem to be doing okay, just fine. Maybe I dodged a bullet here. Potatoes I'm not too terribly concerned about. I think I remember hearing somewhere that you actually want potatoes to experience a bit of cold. So if they even got some frost, I think that actually might be beneficial for them. If not beneficial, then just something that potatoes are fine with. I'll keep an eye out. We do have some sweet potatoes here that are transplants, but we also have some seed potatoes in the ground right here that I'm watching. So we'll see what happens. As for the greens beds, let's take a look under the agribon and see what kind of progress we're making with them. A lot of these greens were actually started from seed here in the raised bed. I think Holly talked about that a few episodes ago. So it's pretty encouraging to see a lot of these starting to pop up. I think these may be kale. I know those are collard greens at the back. I'm not sure what these guys are. I have no idea. Holly would know. I just don't at the moment. This particular bed seems to be a little bit of a different story. The mustard greens back here are popping. They're looking good, but the stuff that had been sown right here, I mean, you can see a little bit of greenery here and there. If you look, it could even be a weed. I don't know, but it just doesn't seem to be nearly as productive as that other bed. Also, I don't think I really talked that much about this system I got with these hoops. But basically, I took a couple of pieces of rebar, one on either side, and connected these PVC plastic tubings. I cut them to size and stuck them over the rebar, and they serve as perfect hoops to rest the agribon cover cloth over. These plastic hoops I actually found as salvage in the barn. Right now they're sitting in that big junk pile back in the woods, but there's a lot of them, and I think I'm actually going to hold on to them because they're really, really handy to use as hoops for the raised beds. So again, just take some rebar, one on either side, cut some of these plastic hoops to size, stuck them on. Seems to work out good. Also, as you saw in the opening, we planted our apple trees here on the other side of the driveway, about 20 feet or so apart, which from all the reading we were doing, that seems to be a good distance a good distance apart for these particular species in terms of cross-pollinating. The pink lady and the Fuji. I'm not as worried about these guys with the cold weather. They're trees. Trees are expected to get dormant and go through seasons and stuff like that. I know that we just planted them here and they're a little more touchy about things like the amount of watering they need and the elements, but I think they'll be okay. They seem to look okay, that's for sure. So what are you doing here, Dad?
Well, I've got a bunch of branches and bramble and stuff that I need to pull from one side of the lawn to another instead of pulling it all by hand or trying to, I mean, some of them are really long, load them up in the cart and pulling them. Trying to devise a way or figure out a way to just load them onto a tarp and use the riding mower to haul them. So
let's see if it works. So
yeah.
you got like a metal pole that you
Yep.
zip tied to this so that you can just grab onto that and pull.
Right, yeah. So I'm making this up as I go along. It's just kind of starting to come together in my head.
Let's see if it works. I'll help you load it up.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Dad? Is it going to work?
Well, it won't be pretty for sure, but it might. It might.
I'll see. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the past 6 months of trying my hand at this homesteading thing is improv is very important. Whether it's clearing brush, dealing with plants, dealing with animals, unexpected things turn up all the time, every day. And you need to think in a nimble manner in order to keep up with everything. A lot of this stuff is just experimentation, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. My dad tying the tarp to the back of the tractor, to the back of the mower, was something we had no idea if it would work, and it turns out it works very well, and it helps us clear brush. There's a million different examples of things like that here on the homestead, where we just kind of shrug our shoulders and say, let's see if this works. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and as always, remember, slowly, slowly.